Hello there, and welcome to Imagine Spotlights, a weekly video series co-produced by the American Diabetes Association and Beyond Type 1. I'm your host, Rob Howe, creator of the Diabetics Doing Things podcast. Every week on Imagine Spotlights, I'll talk to an amazing individual living with type 1 diabetes. Thank you for joining us, and let's get this party started. Welcome, campers. Welcome back to Imagine Camp and the Imagine Spotlight series. I have a super special guest for you guys today. As you know, Imagine Camp is presented by the American Diabetes Association in partnership with Beyond Type 1. And our Imagine Spotlight series special guest today is the CEO of the American Diabetes Association. This is Tracey Brown. Welcome to the show.
Hey, campers. Hey, everybody. Hey, Rob. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, as you know, camp is so much fun. And even though we can't gather in person this year, we are gathering from all over the country, all together to celebrate as far as Imagine Camp is concerned. And today we're going to be talking about just two people living with diabetes, having a fun time at camp. So you are the first CEO of the ADA who lives with diabetes, which means a ton to me because I know you get what's going on in the highs and lows of everyday life. Can you share a little bit about your journey with diabetes and how we got to where we are today?
Yeah, so for me, I've been thriving with diabetes for 16 years. And I actually was diagnosed with gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with my daughter. And for the majority of people, 80% of the women, it goes away after you have the birth of your child. For me, the gestational diabetes did not go away, and I have been thriving as a type 2 person living with diabetes for the last 16 years, and I am so passionate and thankful and grateful for the tribe of people living with diabetes that I credit a lot of my thriving to my other brothers and sisters who are actually living with diabetes. So that's kind of my story. And, I'm sticking to it, Rob.
Hey, that's my story as well. I love, part of the great thing of being behind the scenes at Imagine Camp is that I just get to hang out with more people with diabetes, more of my brothers and sisters who know what I'm going through. And I think for me, as somebody who is a member of the ADA, it has been for, you and I were almost diagnosed. You had diabetes a little bit before when I was diagnosed. In the 15 years since I was diagnosed with type 1, being involved and being a part of an organization with someone who knows what I'm going through, who is at the helm and leading it, means a ton to me. So what does it mean for you to, be the first person with diabetes to lead an organization like the ADA?
I mean, it's a huge honor. I take this honor and responsibility so seriously. I believe everything happens for a reason. I believe it's not an accident that I am living with this disease. I believe that this is a part of my life's purpose, God's purpose for my life, to be at this moment in time having the opportunity to represent 34 million people who are living with diabetes. And here's the deal, Rob. All of us have a passion to bring down diabetes and continue to keep fighting for a cure, to keep fighting for everything we need in order to thrive. So this is a huge honor, responsibility, and I'm just grateful to be able to serve the 34 million people and grateful to serve this organization.
And I love that. I think when you talk about, that this happened for a reason, that we're here right now because, it happened to us and it didn't happen to other people because we are here to make a difference and make an impact. And you wasted no time after being diagnosed to start raising awareness for people with diabetes. Like, it was right away. And I heard, now I think our campers are going to love this story, so I can't wait to hear it from you. Is it true, yes or no, and then we got to hear the story, that you once kissed a pig to help raise awareness for diabetes? Now you got to tell me the story here.
It is true, Rob. And I'm not a farm girl. I grew up in the city, and so the whole animal thing is interesting. So we were raising awareness and raising money in Bentonville, Arkansas, for the American Diabetes Association local chapter, and they have this event called Kiss a Pig in honor of the pig because that is where insulin first came from. But I had the rules of this competition wrong, Rob. I thought the person who raised the most money and the most awareness would not have to kiss the pig. And because I'm a little, I don't know, pigs, things, I was like, I'm going to raise the most money so I don't have to kiss this pig. And so my team and I went for it, and we ended up raising $300,000, which is the most in the history of the Kiss a Pig event. And then I had to get on stage and kiss this pig, and I was like rubbing my lips and Rob,
So you broke the record of the competition thinking you wouldn't have to kiss the pig, and then come to find out on stage in front of all these people. Was that pig a good kisser? We gotta ask.
Oh my God. I just think I was freaked out by the whole thing, actually, Rob. I think I closed my eyes. And just wow.
Sometimes you just gotta dive in. You gotta, just embrace it, even if it's a pig on the other end. So I love that. So, going forward, obviously that was a huge introduction to you and the American Diabetes Association and raising awareness for diabetes. And it's an exciting story. What are you about that the ADA is currently working on? I mean, besides Imagine Camp, which is the most exciting event of the summer, obviously. And what part is ADA playing in finding a cure for diabetes?
So yes, you're right, Rob. Imagine Camp is exciting and one of my all-time favorite things. I'm super psyched that even though this crazy COVID-19 stopped us all from getting together, I love camp for a lot of reasons. I mean, we have been doing camps for a long time, and bringing the tribe together to spend time with each other and learn from each other and have fun from each other is fantastic. And in fact, when I first joined the organization, I had the opportunity to go to Camp Needlepoint, which was my first experience. And so I want to give a couple shout outs to all the folks at Camp Needlepoint, who all the campers who attended, everyone who volunteered. I'm giving you a shout out of love right now. And a couple of other shout outs. I have, actually we're gonna slip it off. Ella from Camp Needlepoint made these super sweet shoes for me.
Whoa, look at those.
I'm very excited, and I wear these shoes very proudly. And then I had the opportunity to play basketball with some of the guys at Camp Needlepoint. And I want to give a shout out to Julian. Secretly, he kicked my butt, but I was ready for him. I've been working and ready to get back there. So shout out to Ella and Julian specifically for all you guys do and who you are. And I'm sending you guys lots of love. Now, what else is the ADA doing? The ADA is actually doing a lot. I think our 80-year history was born out of science and medicine. Science-based organization is who we are. We are not gonna give up on finding a cure. We continue to fund basic research, translational research, clinical research, all in looking to find a cure and looking to leverage research to make life easier for all of us who are living with diabetes. And most recently, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I think everyone knows that, unfortunately, when you look at the number of people who are hospitalized and or who have died from COVID-19, there is a disproportionate number of those folks who have had diabetes. there's not enough research to tell us what is really going on. And so we recently funded $1 million to researchers to specifically do research on diabetes and COVID-19. We're just going to continue, Rob. Like I said, we're not going to give up ever on fighting for a cure by any way, shape, or form. And while we're doing that, we're going to do everything in our power to help all of us living with diabetes to continue to thrive and live our best lives. And that's one of the things I love about camp is the campers are living their best life, period.
Yeah, and you talked about two of my favorite things as well about from camp, sneakers and basketball, which are just two of the things at camp. You know, I think we're all sort of feeling a little bit of the fear of missing out, a little bit of FOMO from not being with our friends and not being in our cabins and not getting to have dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every day, run around. I've even talked a little bit about the Blob from Camp Colorado. I've got to give a shout out to Camp Colorado, where I got to go hang out last year, and all the campers and med staff and counselors there. I'm missing you guys this year. But what's so cool about, I think one of the sort of hidden gems about this quarantine and lockdown is that we've all gotten to connect digitally, and we've all gotten to lean into those things that maybe we had skipped over sometimes in the past. And we all get to have our cabins, have our teams, and we get to meet people from other camps. So some of your friends from Camp Needlepoint are probably connecting with some of my friends from Camp Colorado, and that makes me happy and very grateful that we're able to do this.
Which is awesome. I mean, talk about making lemonade out of what is perceived as lemons. Yes, I am missing everybody and being like physically connected, but I have to say technology has enabled us all to stay connected and reach parts of the country and connect people probably where we wouldn't have normally. So that is one of the benefits of COVID. And so I'm hopeful when we get past this COVID-19, though, I really do want to be back.
Me too. I'll never take it for granted being able to gather with my friends with diabetes. And I think that speaks to, really what we're talking about is the importance of community and being together and finding that community of people with diabetes to, just to be your friend and, learn from and connect with. And, for you, how would you sort of define the importance of a community and surrounding yourself with people who are pouring into you and adding value to your life and are, even a shoulder to lean on and an ear to listen? How important is community to you within the ADA?
Yeah, I think community is huge in so many ways. Rob, just even knowing that you can connect and talk to somebody who has walked in your shoes means a lot. There's a vernacular, there's a familiarity that I have with people living with diabetes that I have, maybe met for the first time. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, Rob, there's just like an instant connection because we vibe, we know what each other's experience is, we've walked the shoes of. So I think connection is important for a number of reasons. Sometimes you're not looking for a solution. You just want to talk to somebody who understands what you're talking about. Full stop. 2, I have found my tribe, my community has helped me manage, in many instances, my ability to thrive. So there is a piece of this. There are people in my community and tribe that I look up to that encourage me to keep doing what I'm doing. I know early on when I was first diagnosed with diabetes, there, people, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can do anything. Like, stop it with all that foolishness. You can do anything. And so having people in my tribe was good for that. And just, 2, just as you said, an ear to listen. I am both a listener for folks in my tribe, as well as sometimes they need to listen to me. I've learned a whole bunch. I actually started using a CGM because of someone in my tribe who had been telling me, look, why don't you go to a CGM because this will help you? And it's been life-changing for me. And I always just like to show, look at that.
Nice.
So
see if I can pull my, here we go. We're close. We're almost matching. You're 102, I'm 106. We're close. Look at that.
That's what I'm saying. So I just think community is so important in this journey. I honestly think community is truly what matters. I'm inspired by my community. I learn from my community. I have the opportunity to share tools, tips, tricks, things that are working for me with the community. I mean, I think it's everything.
I couldn't agree more. And I think, I'm inspired by you for, really as soon as you were diagnosed, really diving in and chasing after that advocacy and really being an advocate and as you said, an ear to listen and sometimes a voice for people with diabetes. For the first 10 years that I lived with the disease, I was very quiet about it and I felt very alone. And I didn't realize that loneliness and that isolation I was creating for myself. And I was putting up those walls and trying to solve the problem on my own. And when I finally got outside of those walls and brought in other people like you who knew what was going on and could just relate to what I was going through, my whole life changed. And that's one of the that I'm here talking with you today. If I had never just gotten outside of my own walls that I put up, I would not be here at Imagine Camp. And that would just be a tragedy, honestly, because Imagine Camp has just been so much fun. So for you, I'd love to hear your advice for anybody who's out there watching at Imagine Camp and who wants to advocate more in their own community or work towards a career in advocacy. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, I see. This is one of the things that I love about advocacy is that each one of us has a voice. And that voice is actually powerful. And it becomes really powerful when we come together in unison. And I think now more than ever, particularly in this crazy time that we are living in right now, from a pandemic perspective, from a racial inequity perspective, there is so much that we need to fight for to drive change. And we all can do that. And I think it all starts locally. I mean, if you think about the large scale social change that has happened in this country, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, tobacco. I mean, you just think about all the movements that have happened. They've all started at the ground level in local communities with people like all of us using our voice. And I will say in this COVID-19 pandemic, I think the ADA and unleashing the millions of people who are fighting with diabetes, there are three things that we have pushed for that are making progress and getting traction based on our voice. One is we've been pushing for zero copay insulin and prescription drugs, full stop. In this pandemic time period, we already know the financial burden that people living with diabetes have. We want to try and lessen that burden, and we don't want anyone struggling to get the medicine, the supplies, the whatever they need. Two, we've actually been pushing for there's over 40 million people now who have lost their jobs in this pandemic. And 9 times out of 10, when you lose your job, you lose your health insurance. So we have been pushing very hard to get continuity of healthcare coverage. So any person who loses their job and is living with diabetes, we are pushing for continuity of healthcare coverage. And then the last thing that we've been all using our voice for is COVID-19 testing, right? We want to get ahead of this thing, and we want to make sure that the COVID-19 testing gets into the communities that actually need it. And so we've partnered with Congressman Bobby Rush in Chicago. He's got a piece of legislation that has dropped. We've partnered with Congresswoman Maxine Waters around zero copays. She's got a bill there. And then Speaker Pelosi has gotten in the next COVID-19 package this continuity of healthcare coverage. All that has come from us using our voice all around the country. So speak up, don't be shy. You have more power in your voice than we think, and what you think and care about matters. It matters.
I couldn't agree more. And I can't say it better than that. Your voice matters. And I think, don't let anybody silence you. Don't lose hope, and, stand your ground, and you can make a difference. You can be a part of tremendous change for people with diabetes. So Tracey, thank you so much for coming to Imagine Camp, first of all, and for just shutting it down and just having an awesome time here and delivering a great message for our campers who I know I'm fired up. And I'm going to be continuing to look for ways to do more in my local community, and I hope that our campers feel the same way.
Awesome. I just like to say, Rob, to all the campers out there, I hope you're having a great time. Keep thriving. Keep doing great things. You're awesome. I'm fired up, and I want to just tell you guys to enjoy the rest of your summer. And I do want to give a shout out to Beyond Type 1. For their partnership, and then of course all of our sponsors, Novo Nordisk, the Helmsley Charitable Trust, and of course our longtime camp sponsor, Lilly Diabetes. None of this would be possible without the support of you, and so we're grateful, we're thankful, and remember, we're all connected for life. Let's keep thriving.